Hi, everybody. This is Sheila Harris, and I'm the host of the podcast Starts and Stops. I know, the name probably needs work, which brings me to what I want to talk to you about today. Have you ever started something and then stopped? If you're anything like me, this can be a recurring cycle. 1 minute, you'll have what you think is an amazing idea. Maybe it's a plan to start a business, an event, an organization. For me, it was a podcast. Well, whatever it is for you, you can just fill in the blank here. But whatever it is, you have it tight. You have the plan, your notes, your potential guests, everything is lining up. Then you stop. The reason could have been anything that you saw that was out of place. You wanted to edit the wording a bit, or you wondered, is a topic too broad? Is it not broad enough? Will the photo work for this graphic? Was that random background noise in the back really noticeable? See, if you suffer from a type of perfectionist syndrome like I do at times, you'll let the smallest thing cause you to stop. And it's just because you want whatever it is you're working on to be perfect. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't seek to produce good work or products or get training, and I'm not saying you shouldn't seek to be as professional as possible. But what I am saying to you is that if you've done all those things, you have to be aware that your day-to-day in life may not allow you to have that perfect timing that you're looking for to accomplish what it is that you're ultimately wanting to go after. Let me explain. See, life can get in the way, but the challenge is when you decide, okay, this is the best time for me to do it. It's a perfect time and I can really get this done. Sometimes it really isn't the perfect time. And then you get swamped again, and then you decide, okay, well, let me just stop again. And what happens is it's just a cycle that continues over and over and over. And even worse, when you do decide, okay, again, here's the perfect time for me to really get this done, that means days, weeks, months, if not years, just slide on by before you decide to start again. And you see the cycle, it just continues. I know this has definitely been something that I can relate to, whether it's this podcast or other areas of my life. For instance, with this. So I actually started down this road some years ago. I won't say how many years. But I even had my first episode locked and loaded. Like I was ready to go. One day I might let you guys hear it. But anyway, I was ready to go. But then I stopped. Why? Well, for one reason, I was at first really scared because I thought it wasn't perfect. But then I got over that because a dear industry friend took a listen to it for me. And she was like, Sheila, yeah, there's some work, but you can do it. So I was really thankful for her. So I got brave again. I said, okay, I'm ready to do this. But then I happened to overhear a conversation that another media industry colleague had. Now, I want to be clear. She didn't know anything about what I was working on. She wasn't even talking to me. She wasn't talking about me at all. But I overheard her talking about, just the industry and podcasting. And she was saying to someone that in order to really have a successful podcast, you really need to have 6 to 7 episodes in the can before you even start. Now, I'm not saying that's wrong, but when I heard that, in my mind and heart, I said, oh my goodness, I know I have 1 episode produced, but the other episodes I was working on, I still need time. And I knew I was a couple of ways off. And then what happened? You guessed it. I stopped. And because I wanted to just wait until I had all of my episodes perfectly edited and ready and everything ready to go all at once. And then I said, well, I'll just wait for the perfect time to get all that done. And of course, you guessed it, that perfect time never came. Life happened. I became overly consumed with work, personal and professional responsibilities, and everything else in between. And soon, a few days, I said, I'll get to it in a few days. Then those turned into weeks. Then those turned into months. And then fast forward to about 2 years later with me talking to you now, to be honest. So what changed for me this time? Well, from time to time, I always love to talk with close friends and family when I'm going through, or if I, need advice. So, one of my cousins, who I consider one of my big sisters, Sharon Carson's, she and I recently had a conversation, and I was just talking to her about some of my frustrations and some of my goals. So, when I was talking to her about the podcast, she then really just pushed me and said, just simply start, just talk for 5 minutes. Now, you have to understand something about me. I am a planner by nature with everything. I've been this way since I was a kid before I realized what was going on, but I try to plan everything out, and I want everything to be perfect. So, when she said 5 minutes, it kind of scared me at first because, I initially had dreams of, 30-minute episodes featuring special guests. I would have exciting segments. I would have these creative segues into commercials or sponsorships and just all the things. And I have this great team backing me up and just all these things. And I even try to, plan out how many seasons I would have. That's how detailed, that's how I can get sometimes. And I just had all the things in mind. Now, I do believe all those things are still possible in the future, right? But I had to realize, her advice really just helped to free me up. Because why couldn't I just talk for 5 minutes, like for right now? And I had to think about that thing because, I could just start and then just pray as I went along and build and grow and rely on all the training I've had and everything else and go from there. So I did. And here I am. Sharon's advice really freed me and reminded me to live more in the now. And as I do that, continue to just enjoy the ride and trust God. And, listen, it's still my desire, my heart's desire, to create a platform that will inspire and motivate the audience to reach their goals and their destiny and all of that. But this time, I said I'm just going to have fun with this and just go along the way one step at a time. So I hope that my story in this episode, this first episode, will be a testimony to someone else who constantly finds themselves stuck in the starts and the stops, hence the title, instead of just moving forward and pushing out what they know they were born to create. So if you're listening, please don't be afraid to start, especially if you have the tools, you've had the training, you've had some experience and exposure, or even if you didn't and you just want to kind of get started, don't be afraid to start. Still do the research, learn. YouTube has a ton of videos. Dr. Google is great, but start where you are right now. It may not be perfect. Listen, I know even right now what I produce here is not perfect, but it's okay. It may be rough around the edges. It may be obvious to those who have done this longer and maybe doing it better that, okay, she really needs some work with this. But it is fine. It is okay. Because for now, I finally have released what I believe has been given to me. And I even went through this when I did my first book, Calling Revealed, which I'll talk about another time. But there came a season where it was like, I have to push this baby out. And that's what this is like for me as well. Now, for those of you who are still scared, I understand. Trust me, this is not easy. If I'm going to be honest with you, this is the second taping that I did of this episode because the first time I listened to it, I said, oh, that's not going to work. So I said, let me just tape it one more time. And I may try to tinker around with it here and there, listening. Oh, did a pin drop in the background or just something crazy? But the difference is this time, I'm like, I am not starting all over again. Too much time has gone past. I know that the right graphics, all the bells and whistles, all those things, the theme song, everything is going to come out in the right time and season. But right now, I just want to give this a try, let it go and look forward to being a blessing and letting God just bless it. And I'm a little churchy, so you'll hear that from time to time, but letting him anoint my voice and what it is he wants me to say to the people. Amen. So I just want to say for those of you who have that first that's coming, whatever that first is. So if it's that first podcast episode, that first published book, that song that you produce, that recipe that you're willing to try, or restaurant you're about to open, or invention that's going to change the world, or business idea that's really going to be really impactful. Once you do your first, that's one step towards reaching one person that you are destined to impact. Now, it's possible that one person could turn into an audience of hundreds, or thousands or even millions. Who knows? But for right now, just relax in it. Right now, I'm concentrating on listening and speaking to you. This one person who's listening to me right now. I just want you to hear me, because there's something that in what I'm saying, hopefully that will impact you, and then, it just passes on and so on and so on and so on. So in this season, we're just going to focus on how to impact that one person. So we're not tempted to do what? That's right. We're not going to start and stop again. And try to worry about how to make it perfect, because that's just a setup to fail. So we're going to break cycles as we go along, and we're going to move forward. For those of you who don't know, I'll talk about myself a little bit more as we go along, but I have been around for a little bit, and I've learned a few things. So if I could share one final lesson with you, again, instead of hiding what that is, what the thing is that God gave you, whether it's that book, that song, that business, whatever it is, and you just find yourself holding it hostage because, oh no, I've got to hold it tight because this isn't ready. And especially for those of you who have had the training and do have the skills and the equipment and everything else, I want you to decide today that you're going to release it. Don't be afraid of what others will say. Don't be afraid of men in their faces. I got churchy again. Because every time you start without stopping, you're closer to creating the impact that you were destined for. The kinks will be worked out. You will get better and better. And you'll be able to look back and be thankful to God for helping you to accomplish this goal. And most of all, you'll be proud of yourself for finally trusting the gift that He placed inside of you. And you'll see what I mean as we go along. So I really hope you stay on this journey with me. I want this podcast and platform. See, I'm tempted to even edit this, but I'm not, because I'm not stopping again. I want this podcast and platform to encourage you to go after your own goals, and perhaps even explore creating new ones along the way. We'll see, one step at a time though. So I realize that I've always been the type to be excited for what's coming in the future. But again, this time, I'm really learning just to kind of rock where I am and just see where God takes me. So, I'm thankful for that right now. And I have to say to Sharon, you were right. This really did take about 5 minutes. So thank you so much, sis. See you around, guys. Talk to you soon.